The guy I used to blow up dog shit with when we were kids got a new girlfriend. This new girlfriend called me a pick-me. She said I was just pretending to be one of the guys so I could steal her man, and that my entire childhood friend group was trash. I didn't say a word. I just squeezed my girlfriend's hand a little tighter. She froze. You have a girlfriend? Harper, the unapologetic architect of the great dog crap explosion of 2005, had returned. My first day back in the States after my parents forcibly repatriated me from Europe for college happened to coincide with a welcome home dinner thrown by my oldest friend, Connor. Connor was one of the kids I grew up in the dirt with. Our little cul-de-sac crew consisted of 6 people, 4 guys, 2 girls. I was one of the girls. The other girl, Natalie, is currently at Harvard, perpetually stressed and entirely too busy for our nonsense. She is the only respectable human being to emerge from our circle. The remaining 4 were the guys, Connor, Mac, Coop, and Miles. How did we all become friends? It's incredibly simple. We grew up in the same suburban neighborhood. One sticky summer afternoon, after a torrential downpour, a massive puddle formed in the dirt lot at the end of our street. Some neighborhood dog had left a massive pile of shit right in the center of the depression. By the next afternoon, the sun had baked the water, rehydrating the turd until the entire puddle transformed into a bubbling, natural biological weapon. Mac, who was 5 at the time and an absolute idiot, pointed at the murky water and said, "It looks like a big bowl of soup." Connor, 4 and a half and an even bigger idiot, asked, "Can we drink it?" I was 5 years and 2 months old. I answered his question with direct action. I grabbed a heavy tree branch, took aim, and slammed it right into the center of the hazard zone. Splat. Foul, brown water erupted into the air. We spent the rest of that golden afternoon chasing each other around the street, dipping sticks into the biohazard and launching it at one another until the entire neighborhood smelled like a landfill. Eventually, our respective mothers dragged us home by our collars. I got the lecture of a lifetime from my parents, my mother shouting, "Harper, are you a young lady or a feral animal?" I was a young lady, but I was a young lady who knew how to make a bomb out of dog crap. So, 3 years later, when I finally sat down at the table with Connor and the boys again, Mac's very first sentence to me was, "Harper, do you still think about the soup?" "I do," I deadpanned. "I also remember that you licked the water that splashed on your cheek, and your mom had to take you to the clinic for 3 days of preventative rabies shots." The private dining room erupted into laughter. This was our dynamic. We survived each other's ugliest, loudest, most unpolished phases. We kept each other humble through mutually assured destruction. Anyone with a fragile ego would have been exiled from our circle back in kindergarten. Connor poured me a beer. "Harper, listen, my girlfriend is coming tonight. Do me a solid and maybe let's not talk about feces." I raised an eyebrow. "Oh? You locked someone down?" Mac leaned over, rolling his eyes. 2 months now. Treats her like she's made of spun glass. You wouldn't even let us meet her until today. We're only getting the privilege because of you." Coop twisted the knife. "Yeah, he said he had to introduce her to his most important childhood friend. We were wondering who that was. Turns out it's you, Harper. The rest of us are basically dogs to him." Connor kicked Coop under the table. "Can you guys just be normal for 10 minutes? I nodded solemnly. All right, I'll play the part. Perfect Southern belle. I got you." 5 minutes later, the door to the dining room opened. A girl walked in. White sundress, long flowing hair, wide doe eyes, and skin that looked like it had never seen a harsh ray of sunlight. The way her skirt swished when she walked made it look like she was floating on a cloud. Someone was floating right behind her. No, it wasn't a person. It was Connor's soul tethered to her wrist. Connor stood up, wearing the kind of dopey, worthless grin that only belongs to a man who has entirely lost his mind. "Guys, let me introduce you. This is my girlfriend, Paige." Paige. She kept her chin tucked, looking up at us through her lashes. The angle, the wide-eyed apprehension. She looked like a startled fawn that had just wandered onto a busy highway. "Hi everyone, I'm Paige." Her voice was soft, like cotton candy dissolving in hot water. Mac and the guys immediately dropped their degenerate personas, sitting up terrifyingly straight and doing their absolute best impressions of civilized society. I stood up too, ready to go through the standard American social pleasantries. But as Paige's eyes scanned the room and landed on me, she faltered. She physically shrank back, hiding slightly behind Connor's shoulder. Connor quickly stepped in. "Harper, tone it down. You're scaring her. She's shy." "Me?" I hadn't even opened my mouth. I just stood up. "All right then." I sat back down. Connor pulled out the chair next to me for her, making the introductions. "Paige, this is the Harper I told you about. We grew up together. Ride or die. She just got back from studying abroad." Paige offered me a smile. It was so tight, so constrained, so forced. I brushed it off. I reached into my jacket pocket. Crap. I'd been in such a rush to get here.